there Booktube, it's Janet and this is my reading week. The first book I've got to show you is Death and the Penguin by Andrei Kurkov, and this is the book I was sent as my first subscription box from the Joy Book Club, and it certainly is a book that wasn't on my radar. It's set in Russia. It tells the story of a journalist who writes obituaries, and he writes them in advance, so you know that they're ready when people die, but then all of a sudden the people he's writing about start dying with quite alarming regularity. And the part with the penguin is he actually has a pet penguin, because when the zoo didn't have enough money to feed the animals, people could go along and buy them and adopt them. And so it's that kind of a tale, and it's got sort of links with the Russian mafia and things like that. And I have to say, it didn't live up to my expectation. I thought it was going to be a really good, darkly comic book, but I actually found it quite boring, quite ploddy, and not a lot happened, and it didn't really hold my interest, so didn't do it for me. The next book I've got to show you is the first in the Lady Trent series, and this is A Natural History of Dragons by Marie Brennan, and this follows the memoirs of Lady Trent and her interest in dragons, which do exist within this sort of parallel world that it takes part in. And this is the story of her early years, and it sort of has connotations of the life of the Victorian British woman who wasn't really allowed to be educated or interested in science and things like that. It's a story of an expedition that is taken to study a particular type of dragon and the pitfalls that happen on the expedition. And I have to say, I did enjoy this. I think it's definitely building up for better things as the series progresses. It was quite slow in the beginning half of it, but the second half certainly engaged me and had me wanting to find out what happened next. And I found Lady Trent herself, although she isn't quite Lady Trent yet in this book, as a really interesting, really cool, feisty character. Really liked her. And so it's definitely made me want to read the rest of the books in this series, because I do think it's actually going to get a lot better, because a lot of the foundations for the story were probably laid in this first book. The next few I've got to show you are graphic novels, and the first one is I Hate Fairyland by Skottie Young, and this is the story of Gert, who you can see there, who is a little girl, and she wished that she could be in Fairyland all the time, and that wish came true. But unfortunately she's been there for about 30 years, so although her mind has aged, her body hasn't, and so she's really peed off with being in Fairyland. And she's quite irreverent. There's a lot of dark humour in it. There's a lot of gore, but it's humorous gore as Gert tries to fight her way out of Fairyland and find this key that's the key to getting out of Fairyland. And I really enjoyed it. I found it a really good, fun read. I'll definitely be carrying on when future volumes come out, and so I really recommend this one. It was absolutely a load of fun, and see, that's a particular example of the kind of art and gory pictures that you'll see in it, but they're all sort of cartoony kind of gore. The next one I've got is Saga Volume 3, and this is by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples, and this is continuing on with the Saga series. Again, I think they're up to episode 6 of this now, and most people have probably read these already, but for me, I'm just discovering graphic novels for the first time, and I found that this series is just getting better and better, and I absolutely adored this volume. It's really starting to get into a very interesting, complex story. The characters are really starting to develop. I'm really enjoying the characterizations and the fact that they are very emotive, very human and realistic in a way, and so I'm really enjoying that one. This is just a little bit of what it looks like inside, so definitely highly recommend it, and I will be carrying on with the series for that. And then the final one for this week is another graphic novel, and this is The Beauty, and this is by Jeremy Horn, Jason A. Hurley and John Rausch, and I have to say that this was probably my favourite read this week. I absolutely loved this. This is a part sci-fi, part crime thriller, part dystopian kind of read. It's the story of this sexually transmitted infection called the Beauty that makes the people who catch it absolutely beautiful, and so people actively try and contract this disease. Unfortunately, where the story starts is that 2 years into having this disease, people start to spontaneously combust, and so it's the story of the corporate kind of background of withholding a cure and trying to get people to buy medicines that will keep the beauty, and that sort of those sort of foundations in it. And it follows the story of like 2 police officers who are like the squad to investigate the Beauty. So I absolutely loved it. I like the art in it as well, it's really good. And so I've already pre-ordered volume 2, can't wait for that one to come out, and highly recommend that one. I absolutely loved it. So that's what I read this week. Let me know what you've read this week and if you've read any of these and what you think, and I'll see you all soon. Bye!